This 2-minute pitch is about informed consent. Our argument is on case number 1 of informed consent. This case is solely about a 63-year-old woman who needs to get a feeding tube treatment. She agreed to the treatment, but the next day, the doctors came back and she did not remember agreeing to receive the feeding tube. Our argument states that due to her level of incompetence, the patient, Sally, should be given the feeding tube because she cannot consent to the treatment on her own. After all, wouldn't you want your physician to make the best decision for you? Duh!
Here's our argument for why we think the doctor should give her the feeding tube without her consent. We'll break it down into steps. Since Sally is not in an autonomous state, she's not competent enough to make her own decision. Autonomy is a person's independent decision-making and their rational self-determination. We don't consider the patient, we'll call her Sally, as an autonomous person because she had been disoriented and erratic in her decision-making. Due to this, she should not be considered autonomous and shouldn't be able to give her informed consent. Page 197 in our book says that informed consent only exists if the patient is competent enough to make a decision, if they get adequate information, if they understand the treatment, and then they decide and consent to the treatment voluntarily. Sally was disoriented and confused about agreeing to the treatment prior to the night before. If she were able to be coherent, she'd be able to remember that she agreed to the treatment and understood it. But therefore, due to her instability, she doesn't have the competence to give the physician informed consent.
Although she is incompetent and can't form a decision on her own, physicians have a duty to act in the best interest of the patient to keep them from harm. Beneficence is the physician providing treatment that is in the best interest for a patient. Also from page 10 in our book, it enjoins us to advance the welfare of others and prevent or remove harm to them. In our opinion, the physician should give Sally the feeding tube due to her not being able to make a decision on her own because of being incompetent. In all, we would want someone to help us when we're not in the right state of mind if it was life or death, right?